Anyway, today I wanted to watch the video that came out from OnePath. Let's go. Okay, so this is about the protests in Australia. We investigate the March for Australia, a nationwide rally that presents itself as a patriotic call to defend, in quotation marks, Australian values. But behind the flags and slogans lies something more troubling. We go beyond the headlines to uncover the stories that shape our world. Okay, let's go.
Last week, protests erupted across Australian cities, drawing hundreds into the streets. The organisers ran.
He said hundreds. In Sydney, an estimated 15,000. In Perth, an estimated 10,000. So I mean to say hundreds. It's a bit cheeky. Anyway.
Hit the March for Australia, a rally they claimed for patriotism, culture, and national values. But on the ground, the picture was different. And Palestinian flags were torn down and even attempted to be set alight.
It's a bit funny, right? Because the previous week there was a Palestine protest, definitely in Sydney, probably other places too. They were like saying it was really huge, like 300,000 or whatever, and there was no issues. At this protest, people start punching each other, fighting over what? Look at this bloke. He's got his camera ready. He knows something's gonna go down. Yeah, how many people are there for the actual protest? And how many people are just to record it in case something happens?
Yet behind the slogans and the scuffles lies a deeper story, one tied to extremist networks, hidden agendas, and a movement far more dangerous than its branding suggests.
This imagery right here. If you saw people wearing black, disguised themselves, walking down the street, maybe with a different flag, you might feel, oh, what the heck? What's going on? But yeah, it's white people here. MashaAllah, we just feel like so, meh, it's all right.
From deleted slogans to the shadow of neo-Nazi networks. So who was really behind this rally?
Look, the question, who's behind this rally? From my limited experience, a rally is a mix of people. Who's behind it? As if it's like one agenda. No, I don't believe that. And here, March for Australia, I'm sure you're going to have a mix of people.
It began quietly on August 8th. A website appeared for the March for Australia. On its front page, a link titled Why We're Marching. Now, the bullet points seemed simple enough at first glance. No foreign flags and mass immigration.
Questionable imagery there. The silent majority? Okay. White people? No, anyone could just bang a website out these days. I wonder what template they're using. Can I see? Okay. Check this out. Didn't I say anyone can bang out a website? Right? Look at this. This is their website. And this is the theme they used. Gimont City Government WordPress theme. They hardly changed anything. Look, you got the same colors and everything. So look, I mean, who made the website? Who knows, right?
Remigration now. But by August 11th, something on the website quietly disappeared. a single word: remigration.
He's probably going to say, oh, because they removed the word, Yani, they wanted to, I don't know, distance themselves from that idea.
So, who is really behind this? Now, unlike traditional protest movements, March for Australia has no clear leader. Instead, a shifting cast of voices takes turns to front it. But one name has become familiar: Beck Freedom. She has also taken ownership of the Sydney March. In interviews, she calls herself a freedom fighter, a nationalist, and a patriot. She told radio station 2GB she avoids using her real name for protection, but her record online raises some serious questions.
Yo, OnePath, show us some of these clips. Show us the interviews.
A group dedicated to the preservation of European culture. She has also shared posts from Sherman Burgess, once one of Australia's most notorious anti-Islam activists. Known as the Great Aussie Patriot, Burgess led movements like Reclaim Australia and the United Patriots Front, before later, in a surprising turn, actually converting to Islam.
Oh, mashallah, brother. Mashallah, brother. It's happened a few times, eh? Someone, Yani, went out of their way to make Islam look bad, and in the process, Yani, Allah guided him to Islam.
They reflect a worldview that goes far beyond patriotism, and they reveal why so many are increasingly concerned about who is shaping this movement.
It's not like one whole thing. Within anything, any movement, you have people with different ideas, different thoughts. Maybe the question is, where are the moderate ideas? Where are the moderate white people? They're probably not at those rallies.
They first rallied against lockdowns, against vaccines, against restrictions during the pandemic. Now, those same networks have reassembled under a new cause: immigration. The March promos have equally been strange. One AI clip even showed a hijabi woman proudly fronting the cause. It's almost as if AI didn't get the brief.
I'm sure the AI got the exact brief that they wanted. What's this, Bob Catter? Wow, seen that meme? Don't say that. That irritates me.
Throw eggs at them, please. Throw something at them.
Just don't go asking him about his heritage.
You've got Lebanese heritage yourself. What would you
Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that.
Pauline Hanson made her appearance in the debate, using her moment to criticize Palestinian flags at rallies.
It's all right to see the Palestinian flag out in these protest rallies and all these other, even Hamas flags, terrorist flags.
What is a Hamas flag? Does anyone know? This is what's labeled a Hamas flag. I don't think I've ever seen that flag in my life. I'm 90% sure Pauline Hanson's not talking about that.
Among the political responses was Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke, who characterized the march as couldn't be less Australian. Now, some organizers pointed to Gaza, presenting their march as the defense of Australian values over Palestinian solidarity. But in reality, Australia has already seen what those values look like. 300,000 Australians side by side crossing the harbour bridge in peace, opposing the genocide in Gaza. The contrast couldn't be sharper. One side narrows Australia down to race, the other shows that looking out for humanity is what Australians actually stand for.
Yeah, I think there's clearly large support for the Palestinian cause amongst Australians, assuming that what Australians stand for is what Australia stands for. May or may not be the same thing.
The protesters' messaging is confusing and quite clearly contradictory. But within that confusion, something far darker emerges. March for Australia insists that they're not far right, that they're not associated with neo-Nazis or white supremacist groups. They argue such groups are fringe, trying to exploit their event. But actions tell another story. Some March-linked speeches have gone even further, calling openly for violence and declaring that Adolf Hitler needs to be accepted among Australians.
The Australian public are going to have to accept Hitler in their hearts.
Who is this guy?
They're going to have to accept Hitler. We're not going to disown Hitler.
These aren't random trolls.
I don't know, he seemed less confident when people started laughing.
Sewell isn't just another protester. He's the leader of the National Socialist Network.
Just look at this for a sec. Here's Thomas Sewell. Wasn't that the guy talking before about accepting Hitler? So it doesn't look like that guy. That looks like a different guy.
And at the March for Australia rally in Melbourne, he wasn't on the sidelines. He was organising centre stage. Sewell was handed the
Yeah,
microphone
that's the guy with the mustache. Sewell.
and gave what was, effectively, the rally's keynote address. In other words, any claim that this movement had nothing to do with the far right was now difficult to take seriously. Because when one of Australia's most notorious neo-Nazi figures is elevated to the role of headline speaker, the picture becomes clear. This wasn't just about patriotism or culture, or even values. It had become a platform for the far right. Just listen to some of the things said by these guys. One guy went so far as to claim that being Australian is something only white people can be.
What about all the other Australians that are not white?
There are plenty of other people representing them.
There is no Australians that aren't white. So anyone who's not white is not Australian? Correct.
Now, I hate to break it to you, but this
Oh, man. Popping out the passport.
and I'm not the only one. But here lies the contradiction. The march claims to be about ordinary Australians, everyday mums and dads, workers and families, worried about immigration. But the fingerprints of extremism are everywhere.
I don't know, what's the whole point of this video? To say yani, the far right yani, started this whole movement? Don't know about that.
And it isn't just the march that raises some serious questions. The media's coverage does too. For years, Sky News has tried to paint pro-Palestine rallies as anti-Semitic. But when Tom Sewell, the leader of Australia's most notorious neo-Nazi network, was given the stage, Sky News described him as just a right-wing activist. No mention of his neo-Nazi ties, no mention of his violent record. Palestinian rallies are relentlessly defamed, while an actual neo-Nazi is handed a softer label on national television. And it's not like his record is hard to find. I mean, you can literally Google the guy and find it out for yourself.
Oh, wait. Maybe it was the guy from before. He did have a beard. Yeah, maybe it is him, eh? It just looks way skinnier here.
On the surface, the March for Australia presents itself as a rally for pride and culture. But beneath the banners, contradictions emerge. Language that disappears from official pages, organisers with ties to extremist groups, and rhetoric that reshapes the idea of values into something far more narrow.
Australia for the white man. You know what? Those people who say Australia is for white people, when are white people gonna start picking up the slack and doing the Uber deliveries?
Do we build walls out of fear or build bridges out of compassion? Because in the end, this is not just about a single march. It is about how societies choose to define themselves and whether national pride is built on exclusion or on the shared humanity that connects us all.
Well, certainly in Australia's history, right? You had the white Australia policy. 100% exclusion. And subhanAllah, I remember from high school, one of the reasons for federation was the White Australia policy, to keep out others. What are you going to say? All right, mashallah, one path. Well done. Allahumma barik.